Welcome back to Enigma Twisted Horror. In this video, I'm going to be going over my personal favorite Halloween films from best to worst. Now before we start, I just want to say that this is my opinion and a lot of you may agree or disagree with what I think. And that's okay. That's the whole point. You can go ahead and share your rankings in the comment section below. I would love to hear your opinions. We're entitled to one good scare after all, so let's get right into it. I'm going to start from worst to best. So coming in at number 13, we have Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's version from 2009. I really didn't enjoy this movie. H2 is how it was marketed when it was released. From top to bottom, is just trash. I understand Rob Zombie has his own style and artistic taste, but I just didn't feel it was made well. From the visions Michael has of his dead mother, to a white horse that Rob Zombie saw on a road trip, which gave him the idea, to Michael wearing half a mask, just didn't make no sense to me. Moving on to number 12 is Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. The film speaks for itself. Bad writing, bad characters, bad director. They went from a great sequel in number 4 with several different directions and cliffhangers that it could continue on from, and director Dominique Othenin-Girard completely ignored all that and went his own way, mainly because he felt like it and completely didn't know what Halloween was about. But moving on, number 11 on my list is Halloween The Curse of Michael Myers, or Halloween 6 as I would call it. This movie pretty much was a mess when it came to this story. Making the film was a total nightmare, and whichever version you saw, whether it being the theatrical cut or the producer's cut, it really didn't matter. I didn't really like the whole Thorn thing and Michael being controlled like a tool and impregnating his niece on the producer's cut. Yeah. One thing I did like was the hospital massacre scene. Michael picking up a giant butcher's knife and killing all the doctors. Definitely entertaining, I'll give it that. Next on the list is the Halloween reboot from 2007, also directed and written by Rob Zombie at number 10. Big difference between this one and H2. Don't get me wrong, there was a lot wrong with this one, but it had its high moments. The increased violence, Michael being over 7 feet does add more eerie to him, and is brutal with his kills. I felt that the character's dialogue was a little over the top for a Halloween film, and just wasn't necessary. For another film? Maybe, sure. In the number 9 spot, I'm dropping in Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Now I know Michael wasn't involved in this film in any way, but this just isn't a great movie, nor is it a really bad movie. It's just an 80s horror classic. I've seen way worse, but the movie isn't something I would always go back to. Now we're going forward to 2002, Halloween Resurrection. There was a lot of comedy stuff happening in this movie, despite being a horror. A completely new cast with no one returning from the other films. We're not going to mention Jamie Lee Curtis, as she's gone on record calling this movie a joke. The most memorable character was Freddy, played by Busta Rhymes. He was a great character, but seeing him do Bruce Lee moves and shocking him in the private parts and practically dancing on his grave,
trick or treat, motherfucker,
it's just crazy. The boogeyman you wouldn't think would become a laughingstock. But this film was entertaining. It was so bad that it was good. Coming in at number 7, we have the latest installment, Halloween Ends. Yes, the trilogy did have an ending, and that was the whole point. And it's not a bad movie. It had some interesting points in it, how Corey basically was doing Michael's dirty work it seemed, but maybe if it was a spin-off and not for an original story. I get Michael is older and the battle wounds have played a part, but come on, Corey double-leg takes down Michael with ease. The old, no pun intended, Michael would have ripped his head off. He was hardly used in the film, so maybe an ending that needed to happen. Now this is where I disagree with what John Carpenter says. He hated Halloween 2 and wanted nothing to do with it in any way. I like Halloween 2. Michael certainly got more creative with his kills as seen in the movie. It was a bit slow at times getting into it, but overall it had some iconic moments. So this goes in at number 6 for me. Fitting that we go from Halloween 2 to Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers takes number 5 for me. I get the feeling of Halloween and autumn or the fall season in this one. Don't get me wrong, the movie isn't perfect, but for a sequel to the second one, it's great. I didn't like Michael's mask and I didn't like the body language, but more on that in another video. Stay tuned. Next one is Halloween Kills. I loved it for its brutality and violence and its new direction. Seeing Michael emerge from the burning house and taking out an entire firefighter team, chillin'. The flashback from 1978 was done really well, I thought. The whole movie left me wanting to see more, and that's kind of the whole point of a middle part of a trilogy. Halloween H2O grabs the number 3 position, and it all comes down to the story and the ending. I felt this was the perfect ending, having Laurie and Michael have a big chase and a showdown, all leading to Michael getting his head chopped off with an axe. That's how it should have stayed in my book. We're not going to let the sins of resurrection hurt this movie, because the whole franchise has plenty of examples of other movies getting thrown in the trash because of the stupidity of others. The Laurie Strode character was great in this movie also. Number 2 on the list is Halloween 2018. When I heard that Jamie Lee Curtis and John Carpenter were back on this project, I was excited for it, because we knew we were going to get a good movie, very similar to the first one. For the first time in a long time, Michael was actually scary again. After years of reboots and terrible movies, this one served its purpose, at least until we knew we were getting kills and ends. Before, this would have been lower on my rankings, only because the ending didn't really give us a resolution. But overall, I love this movie. Now we've hit number 1, and it's the king of all slasher movies, the very first Halloween from 1978. Halloween is the film that started it all, and if it weren't for this movie, we wouldn't have had any of the others. This is what set the bar, a typical classic slasher movie. This one I return to every year without fail. It's a must-watch at Halloween time, and if John Carpenter had his way, we would never have got any of the other movies. And for selfish reasons, and Michael Myers being my personal favorite slasher, I'm glad he didn't. There you have it. That's my list of ranking Halloween films from worst to my best. They're not all great, some of them are actually terrible, but I still remain a huge fan. And if more do get made in the future, I'm sure we'll all be there for that ride. I know not everyone will agree with my opinions, and that's okay. Let me know what your personal rankings are of these movies. I just wanted to say thank you all for watching, and if you did enjoy this video, don't forget to show some love, and please like and subscribe. And as always, I will see you all in the next video.